Gluten-free beers. I've drunk a few. Most of them, they were good for a gluten-free beer. Some of them were bad, just bad. Like, I feel sorry if you have to deal with celiac or some sort of other legitimate condition that requires you to drink gluten-free beers. When I was at Spud's a couple weeks ago, I was chatting with their purchasing guy, Colby, the guy who buys their beer. That's a great guy to know. And I was asking him what his favorite beer is that he had in stock there. And he actually said that it was one of these gluten-free beers, not one I'd had before. And I don't believe it's actually a brand that I included in my previous head-to-head reviews, though I believe I did try this brand at the Tumwater Artesian Beer Festival a few years back. And I believe I might have tried a ghost pepper beer of theirs. And this brand is dedicated to gluten-free. All the beers they produce are gluten-free. So he said that one of these beers by this brand is hands down one of his favorite beers that he had in stock there. Highly recommended I try it. I said, is it good for a gluten-free beer or is it just good? And he said it's just good. All that to say, here I am now drinking Ghostfish Brewing Company's Gosefish, which is a hibiscus cranberry gose. That's pretty looking. Now, as I recall, the things that I tended not to like about the gluten-free beers that I've had in the past were that the malts they used, the grains that they used to produce the sugars that their yeasts could act upon, added a really unpleasant level of funkiness or unpleasant funkiness to the beer. In particular, I believe it was the beers that used a lot of millet that I had the biggest problems with. Being a gose, this should be relatively, it's a tart beer. It's a sour beer that has salt involved in its production. A modern gose probably is going to have salt added. The original goses, it was a water source that was very high in salt. So they say they use water, buckwheat, millet, rice, quinoa, and then their various other ingredients. So there is millet in there. So we'll see. I am hopeful, right? Okay, so there's some cranberry tartness to it. Hibiscus might be a more floral aroma. And being here outdoors with a bit of a gentle breeze blowing, I'm not sure how much the hibiscus will show up versus if I was in a warmer closed room. And I wonder if actually warming it up might even bring that out possibly. It smells, so it's a very faint cranberry, and then it's really dry cracker, which actually bodes well. A dry cracker is going to be vastly superior to some of the other things I'm used to, or I've come to expect in certain gluten-free beers. Okay, there's the hibiscus coming out a little bit. There's a faint herbal quality, which actually it says they use coriander in here as well. So we might know that as cilantro, coriander, cilantro, same thing. I'm checking what aromas are in the general vicinity here. And there is some woodiness in the air, so I don't want to confuse that with what I'm smelling in the beer here. Yeah, I mean, it smells pleasant. It smells good, and there's no off aromas. So that's a good start. Oh, that's a tart one. And going back to my gluten-free beer reviews, I observed that the more strongly hopped beers perhaps are able to mask the downsides of the gluten-free malt bill. And so I wonder if the use of the tartness of a gose and the saltiness actually is going to serve in a similar capacity to mask those, the drawbacks, the downsides of a gluten-free malt bill. There's a reason why beer is made with barley primarily, and also wheat and oats and other grains that have gluten. Not because of the gluten, but because those grains have been developed over time, and the other ingredients, the yeasts and the water and such, they work together in harmony to produce that thing that we think of as beer. And if you significantly change one or more of those ingredients, you get a significantly different beverage. And there's upsides and downsides to each of those changes, right? Sometimes you want the different sorts of character that you get from a very different yeast. Sometimes you want the different character that you get from a different grain. But there's also a reason at the same time why beer has not traditionally, in volume, been brewed using rice, millet, buckwheat, and other gluten-free grains. It's just different enough. It tends to not be quite so close to beer. And so when you are talking about a gluten-free beer, there is first, how beery is it? Like, do I have to apologize for this? Is it good for a gluten-free beer? And there's been very few gluten-free beers I have found in the past that have done that. I believe by Dam Brewing out of Spain, they have a gluten-free light lager that requires no apology. It's a great light lager, crisp, refreshing, very beery, right? You could hand it to the guy who drinks his Bud Lights, frankly, the guy who drinks his Budweisers, and they'd be just fine with it. But on the other side, there's a lot where those grains produce less pleasant characteristics, right? So all that meandering to say that there's a reason why we stuck to those ingredients, right? And when you depart from them, there are trade-offs. So how can you adjust and massage A, your recipe, B, your target, and that might be the more important one. What are you trying to get to in order to make it as close to what people expect? And a gose, with its strong tart flavor and that slight saltiness, kind of briny saltiness, and hey, the use of fruits or herbs, great idea. You're going for something that might be less beery, and for that reason, you can maybe mask or adjust, or hey, just hit it bang on. This beer is tart and juicy. There is, actually, that's a pretty nice Pilsner-like finish. Kind of mildly wheaty. That's surprising, considering the grains, and pleasant, actually. So there are none, I'm going to say, there are none of the negative characteristics that so put me off so many of the other gluten-free beers that I've tried. This is a good beer because it's tart, not bracingly sour. Just it's really tart. It's decently tart. I would say it's a moderately tart beer compared with, say, Ale Song, French champagne barreled or Chardonnay barrel aged fruited sour, which can be just puckeringly tart. You know, this is a moderately tart beer. You're tasting that little bit of salt to it, which kind of gives you that nice mouth-watering sensation that's really nice in goses. And there's the cranberry, which, hey, there's tartness. There's very little sweetness. I'm not sure I'm picking up the hibiscus per se, but it might just be kind of filling out the beer, giving it a little more dimension, because cranberry can be really thinly tart. And the hibiscus kind of plays in that, it's kind of fruity but kind of floral, and it would kind of play in that same capacity. Coriander, I think that might be more to the aroma than to the taste. As it warms, I think the beer feels like it thins a little bit, but not badly. Yeah, this is a tasty beer. I'm enjoying this. This is a tasty beer for a beer, not for gluten-free beer, for a beer. And that's a good thing. So yeah, my wife was definitely interested in trying this one, so looking forward to sharing that with her. Anyways, I'm going to give this 3 stars. This is a good beer that I enjoy. And I don't even have to, qualify that saying I enjoy it for a gluten-free beer. It's a good beer that I enjoy. Anyways, this is me, Matthew. I have been drinking and enjoying Gosefish, the hibiscus cranberry gose by Ghostfish Brewing Company. This is a dedicated gluten-free brewery, and so this is a gluten-free beer. And I will catch y'all on the flip side.